How's it going, everybody? I'm Rob Fishbeck, and with me here is Achille Carter. What's going on, boss?
Thank you. We go by Sir Joker around here.
So, Sir Joker, yes.
Or Joker. But you can call me Achille.
I already did. So what's going on, dude?
Nothing. Same old. Here to do a first for me. I have never previewed a Taylor Swift full album top to bottom. Today was the first time I've listened to the whole thing top to bottom.
Okay, so this is the first public video I've done going through a whole brand new Taylor Swift album, which, by the way, if you're a Swiftie and you're watching the show, look, I've been around since the Tim McGraw music video dropped on CMT. So just because we don't look like your normal Taylor Swift fans, it's going to be a great show. I'm really excited about it. So I really hope you stick around. You're still watching this. Because, like, spoiler alert, when she mentioned Abigail, I cried. I actually cried the first time I listened to the album when she brought up Abigail and ruined the friendship. So we'll get there. Okay. We will get to all of it. But yes, so this is the first time I've done a track by track. We used to do a music show on this channel, and I was always pushing for, like, can we do Speak Now? Can we do 1989?
Yep.
And was always, it's very hard to find people in my group that want to talk about Taylor Swift ad nauseum, though I do all the time. I have a specific group chat for it. But dude, you're here to play the game, which thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And you had suggested the show, so that's what makes it even better.
Yeah. It was one of the things where obviously I'm not a Swiftie per se. I appreciate Taylor Swift. I have not, like I said, I have not listened to a whole album of hers ever. I probably listened to most of her radio songs, and I haven't even heard all albums. I could name some albums.
All right, wait. Go try to name all the albums that you can name.
All of them?
Oh. Well, the ones you can.
I know Folklore, I think, is an album. I think 89 is an album.
Yes.
Eras. I don't know if that was just a tour or if it's
that was the tour
album. Life of a Showgirl.
Ooh. Do you know any of the older albums? One was A Color.
Red, Pink.
Yeah.
Red album. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think that's all I know off the top of my head, honestly.
Okay. So the short terminology, because I don't call it the Life of a T-Loss, which is like the acronym that most people on social media use. I just call it TS12 because that's how we do it. Okay. TS13, 2027, baby. Because next year, I'm telling you right now, debut TV, that's Taylor's version, the re-recorded version. Debut TV, I guarantee you, will come out either April, May, or June with a vault track lead single, because by then they'll be done with the singles, I think, for this album, because no offense, we're not going to get, even though you could get 7 singles off this album, it's a topic of conversation we're going to have tonight. Kind of the single world is going away, so we're not going to have another 1989 where there's 7 fucking singles. So I think debut TV comes out next spring, like late spring, early summer, with a new lead single from the vault tracks. And then I still think the Rep TV vault tracks will come out 2027 with a remastered 10th anniversary edition of Reputation. I'm just throwing that out there for all the Rep TV people. We all know we're not getting Rep TV, the standard album, but we're going to get the vault tracks. So that would make sense to me. But I say all this to say, because if she puts out debut TV next year, next spring or summer, dude, she can fucking sweep the Grammys. She can win album of the year for Life of a Showgirl, pop single, country vocal. Like she can do it all. Okay. Which is, look, she's the last cat in the, no pun intended, because she loves cats, but she's the last cat in the music business. There's a lot of musicians that I love that fill theaters, and they're great. But with artificial intelligence and the way the music industry's gone for the last 20 years, she's the last of the Mohicans in one way or another. And her peers are Elvis and the Beatles at this point, which I find fascinating. But yeah, anyway, so here, I'm just going to throw this out there. I'm going to ramble. I'm going to go down some side roads. I'm easily excitable. This is a favorite topic of mine. Rob I'm going to need you to steer the ship a little bit, buddy.
Okay, so Rob is the side road, is what he forgot to mention. One of the things that I think is interesting, and you've touched on it, I do work with a person who is kind of in like the AI music industry, and they were telling me that it's really interesting and it's really popular. Really interesting, really popular. And we had started talking about it a little bit before backstage. Do you feel like musicians that use AI to write albums are cheating as a musician, as a singer?
Well, I don't know anybody specifically that's using AI to write music or lyrics, because and I'm sure there are people that are doing it, but like for the record, Taylor Swift is not. But in terms of like the big acts, whether it's a Sabrina Carpenter or whomever, I don't think they are, because like when I got my ASCAP card in the mail as an ASCAP member, as a songwriter, that was like a big special moment. I got it framed on my wall, and part of what makes that such a big deal is you took an idea and you made it into a thing, so that's got some weight to it. And I don't think people that are going to make AI music have that same mindset. So to me, I could be wrong, but to me, right now, I don't think the big acts are using it. I don't think Taylor would ever do anything like that. I wouldn't. I don't think any of my favorite artists would. But it's going to happen, and it's going to start happening a lot. And I think there's going to be AI artists that you're going to start seeing within the next year that are actually hitting the charts.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And they're doing that in the movies too.
Yeah. And that's very scary.
Yes. Do you, so you're more of a, I don't want to say more, I like music a lot. I'm not necessarily an album person anymore. It's not like when you go and buy a CD and you would get the CD and throw it in and listen to songs. But do you buy CDs, vinyl? Do you do digital?
Well, all right. So you're throwing a lot of questions. I want to answer them one at a time. No, I'm glad you're asking all the right questions. This is great. So one thing I want to say is when it comes to albums, there's album oriented artists, and then there's like single driven artists. So like we can go way back in time. So like great examples would be like the Temptations. Okay. By the time you got to the greatest hits, sure. But like you weren't like drooling over a new Temptations album. It was all about the new Temptations single. My Girl's coming out. I Wish It Would Rain. Just My Imagination.
Yeah.
It was the single.
Yep.
So to use like Bob Dylan as an example, he was always more of an album oriented artist. People wanted to hear the whole album. They wanted to hear Highway 61 Revisited, all the tracks. Okay. Or whatever it be. And because during that time period, mid 60s, late 60s, that was happening. It's part of the reason FM radio kicked off, because that's where you would hear Led Zeppelin, So, and since then it's just kind of gone that direction. I am vaguely familiar with Bad Bunny's work. I think he was incredible on Happy Gilmore too. But my sister was telling me, because I was like, oh, I want to go on Spotify and listen to some of his music. And it's new to me, that genre, a little bit. And she told me, she said, he's a singles oriented artist. Like, people aren't like diving into the albums. So for me, other than Jason Isbell and like Tyler Childers and Casey Musgraves and Taylor Swift, there's really not anybody in the last 10 years. I got Lana Del Rey, I guess. There's not really anybody in the last 10 years where I'm like, oh man, I want to hear the whole album, or I'm like automatically assuming I want the album, not just a single or something. So for you, are you more of like a radio guy, I guess? Like, how does that?
I actually don't probably listen to the radio as much.
Sure.
The biggest influence on music is going to surprise you. It's TikTok. We've discussed this before. You know this. And a lot of times, depending on how popular a TikTok song is, that's how they kind of navigate towards radio play. I mean, obviously, if Beyonce drops an album, if Taylor drops an album, if you're talking like the big stars, they're going to get played regardless.
Right.
You know, if Justin Timberlake happened to come back out with an album.
Right.
Bieber, they'll get albums.
But I mean, you're literally talking. All those people you just named are in the top 20 of the last 15 years.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And that's because people buy them, people like them, and there's a lot of crossover appeal with them. And the one thing about the album, because again, I could tell you some singles. So to answer your question, I'm more of a singles person now. Mm-hmm. I could tell you some of the singles that I've heard from her, but I couldn't tell you albums probably. But I do feel like in terms of the albums, I mean, of what I've heard today, that the progression of her sonically, like her sounding, obviously she's older and obviously she's more mature, but it sounds more mature. Like overall, it's like a grown-up album or growing up album.
Yeah, so I'll mention on that real quick, and then I want to go back to the physical media for a second. Yes, I completely agree, and I think, again, we could get into the weeds on a lot of stuff. Speak Now. The growth from debut to Fearless was like, and I'm going to talk nerd for a second, but like the growth from debut to Fearless was like, oh my gosh. Like, dude, I was a senior in high school when Love Story came out as like the lead single before Fearless dropped.
Yeah.
And I was just like, she wrote this by herself? Like, what? Mm-hmm. You know, and then Speak Now, like Fearless to Speak Now is just, you know, I was in awe for like a year when Speak Now came out, just because, you know, nobody, like George Harrison was like 18 or 19 when the Beatles came to America, you know, but like fucking nobody at that age, like Bob Dylan was in his mid-20s when he started writing like fucking songs like that. She's fucking 19 years old writing songs like that. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, so she's progressed. But to answer your thing, when Folklore dropped, and I'll never forget when it dropped, I was laying in bed and I got a text from Helen going, Taylor Swift dropped a new album. And I'm like, what? Lover just came out like 6 months ago. What? And I wasn't huge on Lover. Still, I'm not huge on Lover. Right. But I neither here nor there. And the one started, and the opening line was, I'm doing good, I'm on some new shit. And I was like, oh my God, she just used a bad word, you know? And then you get to Betty, and she uses fuck for the first time. And she's used it many times since then, all in great ways. And that was the moment that I was just like, oh my God, she's like my guy. She's like Papa Bruce. She's growing with her audience. You know, if the people, whatever the age people were when they first started listening to her, same with like Bruce, if you're in your 20s, or with her if you were a teenager, as you grow, as she grows, you grow with her. She's not trying to write songs for 17-year-olds. You know, yes, The Fate of Ophelia and Opalite are both clean songs. Those are for everybody, for the general audience. Okay. But like, the bulk of her album cuts and even some of the singles, she's not sitting there like, oh, well, I don't want to make the moms mad of the 9-year-old kids. She's a 35-year-old woman. She's going to do what the fuck she wants to do. And the fact that this was the first time she ever showed her belly button in one of the pictures for this album, she's never shown her belly button before. She's talked about it like 15 years ago. It was like a big thing, you know. No offense, I mean no disrespect to anybody, but you know, I think about Miley Cyrus. As soon as that Hannah Montana contract was over, she's doing all sorts of provocative stuff, and you know, whatever it be, and all on down the line, and that's their art. But like, you know, she's never done that. She's always, I mean, she says it in Clara Bow. You know, You look like Taylor Swift, you've got Ed, she never did, This goes, when we get into eldest daughter, like, she's not a bad bitch. She's like a corny fucking millennial. She's, the internet uses this term all the time. She's so cringe. And it's like, yeah, well, millennials are cringe. Sorry. We're weird. We're a weird, awkward generation that like grew up with a lot of analog stuff and then hard cut to digital, like Gen Zers don't know how to work a VCR. I could program my VCR by the time I was 6 or 7 years old. Yeah, it's just like, anyways, I'm getting in the weeds. But to answer your last question, last CD I bought, swear to God, was Reputation, the day it came out. And then in 2018, there was only maybe like 1 or 2 albums that came out that year by anybody that I was like excited to hear the album. And none of them would have been records I could have bought at like Target or Walmart. And then 2019 hit, and like Bruce Springsteen's Western Stars came out, and I remember it was a big deal because that was the first time where I was just listening to it all on Spotify and not buying the CD. So I say all this to say, on October 3rd, I went and bought CD for $12. And it was cool because it's like, God, I haven't done that in 8 years. I haven't gone to a store and been like, going to the music section. I'm gonna buy something,
Yep. My whole childhood was buying CDs and having the big CD cases and stuff like that. And I think it's interesting, obviously, to change to digital because everything's digital now. And I have Apple Music. I pay for Apple Music, so I don't even really need, like, I could listen to whatever whenever I want. Just to push of a button. And I don't know. The last CD I got was Jay-Z's 444, which Patty got for me, I think for my birthday or for Christmas. I don't remember which one. Okay. That was the last CD I've got.
Yeah.
What I like about digital is that I could be stingy and only listen to the songs I want to listen to.
Well, and that's, I mean, again, I'm trying to keep it to Taylor Swift, but it's like, that's why Napster won. That's why LimeWire won. Because what happened? The 80s hit and, CDs slowly took over, which is fine. But the record companies used that, it costs less to make a CD than it does a record album. But they charged a lot more. So the record company was like, we can make money hand over fists selling these CDs at $15 or $20 when records... I remember this is a big thing for Tom Petty when his 4th record came out. They wanted to raise the price $1 because he was Tom Petty and they knew they could get it. And he's like, fuck you people. He's like, my fans work hard for their money, So then the 90s hit, and part of it had to do with there was less good music. By the time we got to the late 90s, early 2000s. And people are like, I'm not going to spend $18 on a fucking CD for 2 songs. You know what I mean? So that's why Napster won. So I get it. You can be stingy, especially especially for somebody more like you that's like, I just want to hear the single, or like, and if there's another single down the road, I'll hear that then. Where I'm like, give me the album. I want to tear it apart and put it back together before the weekend's over.
Okay. Because me and Rob are 2 neurodivergent people leading the blind. We're going to jump back and forth, but overall, and we will go track by track, Rob. I know you're chomping at the bit to do that.
And I've got, just for the audience, these are my notes, have nothing to do with the tracks, but yes.
Do you feel like sonically, do you feel like it sounds like more recent Taylor, more of Taylor maturing?
Ooh. So, spoiler alert, this might be my 5th favorite album of Taylor Swift in her entire career. Right now, I got it sitting at 6. All right, I take that back. I got it sitting at 7. I got it right underneath Reputation. Okay. And look, they're all, I mean, it's like when we talk about our top 10 Marvel movies, it's like the 10th one, it's like, well, if you compare that to literally anything else that's come out, it's going to stand up, but I say this to say, This album for me sonically, now, yes, she's grown so much, and we'll get into like closing one book and opening another book and people that are still broken versus people that are healing. We can get into all that. But like for me, it took me a while to get into Tortured Poets Department. Not because I didn't
that's my
not because I didn't think the songs were great. The songs were all fucking great. All 31 songs. Look, it stands among some of the best songwriting ever.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it's sad. Like it's a sad album, you know, and I've heard a lot of sad albums from her. So the fact that this, to me, now we talk about sonically, to me, this really is the closest thing she's done to kind of sonically go back to, and even vibes wise, Fearless. And we can get to the Abigail of it all. Some of the songs, this is how I described it to my sister, Helen. For those of you, Helen's my sister. She's 2 years younger than me. She's been a big Taylor Swift fan. Also for 19 years straight. She's never veered off. Okay. And, you know, we're in the car driving to a family reunion the night that it came out. And I just told her, I said, you know what I love about this album? Some of the songs on it sound like early 2000s on MTV, you know, like some alternative rock guitar, Honey and Ruin the Friendship kind of just give me these vibes like some of the like female artists, not like Britney or Christina, but like some of the more like soft rock female artists from the early 2000s. But then there's also something new. So all of the music, it sounds very fresh. Okay. And that's Taylor and that's Max Martin and Shellback. And
that's the 3 people she wrote.
You know, like Wood, the beginning of it feels like a Jackson 5 song. I know everybody's talked about this on the internet already, but like, you know, it's got Opalite to me is the best fucking closest thing we've had to a disco single in 40 years. I mean, literally since like the 80s. And it's fucking great. So I think sonically I think the tone of the album is very cohesive. But I also think that it's kind of an amalgamation of a few subgenres with her own genre of music sprinkled on top. If that makes any sense. How about you? What do you think?
Again, I started listening to the Tortured Poets Society Department. I love the title. And I'm teetering with that being included in my new book title, actually, because I like the title so much. Okay. I haven't listened to the song, but I like talking about the title.
Sure.
I think the title is intriguing to me because she considers herself a poet, and I think that a lot of singer-songwriters consider themselves artists instead of performers. Like I consider like people that play and sing consider themselves musicians. So I think it's very specific to how you perform.
Yes.
This is the throwback, and maybe not totally sonically, but she's putting out Jewel vibes. Not that she sounds necessarily like Jewel
but in the best way. Yes,
but she's putting out Jewel vibes because I think Jewel,
early 2000s.
Yeah, Jewel was awesome. Jewel, maybe not as hard as Pink was, because
it's more soft rock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pink. When Pink came out, Pink was under R&B. She was under Babyface. So her first album, I think, was supposed to be geared, maybe second geared towards like R&B, which I think Pink can do anything because Pink can sing. Pink can sing and she can write. So you could put her in. I don't necessarily like Beyonce's ballads, but Beyonce can do ballads. She can do poppy. She can do dance. So, and that versatility. Taylor hasn't really shown that. I think a lot of her other albums have been like, okay, push play, and it just sounds like one 50-minute song.
Like a more of a tonal piece, like a book, like a poetry book.
Yes.
Sure.
And that's why I think when she said she's a tortured poet, I like that.
So do you think, did this sonically sound exciting to you? Being a little different?
It sounded a little bit more upbeat.
Okay.
I
mean, to be fair, again, you're probably not as familiar with like Midnights or specifically 1989.
No, I don't. I know the singles probably.
Right.
And,
You would know like Shake It Off, Blank Space.
Yeah. Oh, I love Blank
Hero.
Space.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Shake It Off's fine. I like Blank Space a lot. That's one of my favorite. Trouble. I like that a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's off of Red. Yeah.
And I like those songs because they have a more like refined hard tone, I guess, to them, where it's like, this is what I'm feeling. And I think that the lyrics are a little bit more, and we'll get into this. Excuse me, the lyrics are a little bit more. I'm going to use the word serious, but I don't think that these lyrics aren't serious, but that's just what comes to mind for me.
So for you,
yeah,
I know exactly what you mean. Let me explain. Let me Rob-splain it to you and see if this makes sense. So like, if you're going to sit down and listen to whether it be Townes Van Zandt or Leonard Cohen or Jeff Buckley or the Tortured Poets Department, okay?
Yeah.
You're going to have to focus on all of the words because they're those types of songs, okay?
Yeah.
And I'll use the word sad, okay?
Yeah.
These are a lot of ballads, a lot of sad songs, okay, et cetera, et cetera. It's not often, and this is to Taylor's credit, she kind of paved the way for the Gracie Abrams and the Sabrina Carp, and especially the Lana Del Rey's and Lana Del Rey and Casey Musgraves. Being able to do pop music that have, especially somebody like Casey Musgraves, those first couple records, like serious lyrics to it. That was not normal. Pop music's supposed to be kind of, for lack of a better term, mindless. It's got a fun hook and I love you and you love me and the Barney song, right? But it's like now here we have pop music, but they're serious songs, and that's always been a thing.
Yeah.
Always been a thing, but it hasn't been a thing for a while, and it hasn't been a thing especially for like the millennial Gen Z generations. It is for the boomers. For the boomers, they're sitting there going, what are you talking about? How about U2? How about, Sunday Bloody Sunday? That's a very serious song. And it's like, yeah, no, for sure. But for people that are under 35, we just haven't gotten a lot of that. So when you heard this album, I'm sure one of the things you were thinking was like, man, for kind of an upbeat record, these are pretty serious, some of them. Does that make any sense?
And what I wrote for one of the over the general reviews is that this is the first album that I've heard that she isn't sounding heartbroken or bitter.
Well, so that's a great lead. So I wanted to make this statement. And I won't name names, but when this record dropped, the bots on social media, which I think is what they were going after this album hard. There's been a few people in the Taylor Swift fandom that are content creators that have been kind of dogging this record. Some people I know that were the opposite of me. They immediately loved Tortured Poets Department, and that's all they could listen to, even though it came out in the springtime. It's like, seasonal depression's over, kids. We're supposed to have fun now. Okay. They were like, how did it end? Chloe, Sam, Sophia, Marcus, just on fucking repeat. Coulter, Peter on repeat, and they're like, oh, this is different. And I saw somebody tweet this, and I wish I would have screenshotted it so I could pull it up. I didn't. So shout out to you wherever you are out there. But they had made this great point, and I was like, you hit the nail on the head. They said the response to this album, you can tell by people the difference between people that are broken and people that are either, people that are healed. And to me, I'll go even further. People that are broken and or want to wallow in brokenness versus people that are either in the process of healing or are healed or are trying to heal. They're putting effort into it. This is the first Taylor Swift album in 10 years where normal people that I know, normies that are not, they've not heard Tortured Poets Department. They know Cruel Summer. They might have heard one song on Folklore. They probably heard Anti-Hero on the radio, but didn't care. that are like, this album rocks. And I'm like, yeah, because she wrote bangers for adults. Like, if you're in your 30s, this is like, she wrote an album for you. You know, like this album to me, it's like, it's for the OGs. It's for people like me that were 15 years old watching CMT for the new Toby Keith music video, or Tim McGraw, no pun intended. And this fucking blonde-haired 16-year-old girl comes on and she's like, you know, singing Tim McGraw. And I'm like, who is this? Why is this song called Tim McGraw? That's kind of weird. And then it ended and I was like, it was kind of stuck in my head, you know? And, you know, driving around with my sisters and listening to fucking White Horse on repeat in 2008. Like, it's like she woke us all up and was like, hey, we're back. Like, we've looked at the last 20 years and it's been a fucking shit show. It's been crazy. But like, here we are now and we're all still here. And let's look at our lives now. And that's what Bruce Springsteen was able to do. You know, he was able to take these characters and his fan base and everything and age gracefully with them. So to me, as somebody who has actively been trying to heal himself in one way or another the last few years and is healing, okay, I hear this album and it gives me hope. It fills me with hope and it fills me with positivity, you know, and it's like, doesn't mean there's not going to be hurdles, but like, I hear Wish List and I go back to that boy that was a teenager that saw The Notebook and was like, that's what I want. Like, that's what I want in life, you know? So I hear this stuff and it's like, you know, we all know the stats. Millennials get married way later, fewer marriages than the generation before them. Gen Zers, it's even worse. You know, people aren't having as many kids if they're having kids at all, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like I said, I hear Wish List and I'm just like, yeah. Like at the end of the day, like I still want to grow old with somebody and hold their hand and watch the sunset. Like as unmanly as that may sound, I was going to use a different word, but as unmanly as that may sound, that's what most people want, you know? So it's like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I was rambling.
You keep saying that. It's okay. So, so to go back to the sound piece of what you were saying a little bit, I do think that musically, a lot of people, and I don't know how many producers she would. I know she worked with those people that you worked with.
This whole album is just Max Martin and Shellback.
Sure. Max Martin and Shellback. And I know she plays the instruments and stuff like that, but I feel like a lot of the music is a little bit more sound saming because I think everybody's using the same producers to make
that's
a lot of the music. And she might not have. Again, I think like
I mean, basically, I mean, you're not wrong. So she started using, I mean, Max Martin and Shellback have been around since I was in like elementary school. Okay.
Right.
You know, but she started working with them on Red and then also like Ryan Tedder and others. But then she started working a lot with Jack Antonoff, who I have a lot of respect for. And then with Folklore, she also started working with Aaron Dresner. But you're not wrong. They call them Taylor's kids, like Sabrina Carpenter, Gracie Abrams. There's others. They all use her producers. So you listen to their music and so this sounds like Taylor Swift. You know.
I agree. And this is when, you know, the debate keeps coming up between Beyonce and Taylor, right? And I think huh?
I mean, I don't know who's still having that debate, but we can have it. Go ahead. Yes.
Well, I'm going to debate from popularity. You're going to debate and say, well, Taylor's bigger.
I'm going to debate from stats. You're going to debate from popularity, I suppose. Yeah.
But that's my point, that when you talk about Taylor and Beyonce, who has more impact, well, Taylor is the hotter, younger, new kid on the block. I do think that also Beyonce changing genres. Did it help? Maybe. Did it hurt?
Taylor changed genres. She went from country to pop to indie
rock.
But
she went to a more She went to a bigger genre.
Sure.
And
you talking about Cowboy Carter specifically?
Yeah, I'm talking about Beyonce's trajectory.
Sure.
And I think that, and I didn't listen to Cowboy Carter because to me,
good.
I've heard some of it.
One album of the year.
Okay, doesn't mean it was the best album of the year. And I will say that Beyonce being able to change sonically is Beyonce's Beyonce. Taylor being able to change like sonically is because she's Taylor. Nicki Minaj could probably do the same type of thing because you have people that are gonna follow her no matter where she goes. Mm-hmm. So the debate comes out where what I don't like about the album is the logistics of she has to. It feels rushed.
What feels rushed?
The album feels rushed. And when you listen to her explaining how she did it, like during off days while she was on tour and all that stuff, when I say rushed, I don't think that she put the energy into it, her full energy into it, that if she would put her full energy into it, it might not have felt rushed. That's just me talking about like from a pure creative standpoint. Because I know how it is when when you're working on projects, when you're in a project and finishing one, but then you're starting a new one or on tour for it. Mm-hmm. So, was she trying to sound sonically different than the songs on the Eras tour? Was she trying to sound the same? I feel like these are songs that were kind of just stuck in her head. So when I say it feels rushed, I don't feel like she poured all the energy into what she could.
I'll make the argument that I think she makes her best work when she doesn't spend too much time on it. And here are my examples that I'll cite. Speak Now, she wrote while she was on tour by herself for Fearless. Mm-hmm. So she wrote that on tour.
Okay.
Folklore, pandemic hits. She sends out some emails. Next thing, we got an album out. Same with Evermore. And she not only wrote and recorded this whole album while she was on the Eras tour, but she did the same for Tortured Poets Department. But I think she consciously wanted them to be very different albums, mm-hmm. And you can tell when you listen to TTPD, the stuff that she was writing before Travis Kelce came along, and then like the handful of songs that are on that record after she met Travis. And I got to be blunt. Those are the only optimistic points on the record, and again, I think it works as a great tonal piece. It's a great album. It's great songwriting. But it's like, those are the only glimpses of hope on that record is songs like, But Daddy, I Love Him,
mm-hmm.
And things like that.
Mm-hmm.
To me, if you feel it sounds rushed, that's, your thing. To me, I think it's different for me because to me, it feels like this is a sniper rifle instead of a machine gun. TTPD was 31 songs.
The what?
Tortured Poets,
yeah.
Was 31 songs. This is 12 songs, and this is the first album in a minute where there's no, like Midnight's had the bonus tracks and then the 3 a.m. edition and the Till Dawn edition and blah, 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 blah. No shade. I don't think Lover had a bonus edition, and I know Reputation didn't. Folklore had one bonus track, The Lakes. Evermore had a bonus track. I don't forget which one it was. But like, to me, this is like the most focused she's been in a long time, because she's putting out 12 songs and trusting those 12 songs to carry the momentum of this whole thing, and not 3 months from now, we're going to get 4 bonus tracks or something. This is it. So to me, that also shows she's really proud of this work. If we're just going to keep it to that, but that's my take on it.
No, I know.
What else you got? What are some of your other? What else you thinking?
No, the rush doesn't. I don't think rush means that it was bad. I think rush means that it felt. That it felt different. But so what am I thinking? I mean, we might as well just go into the songs breakdown if we're going to talk about it specifically.
Let's start with The Land, the Sea, the Sky. Keep it 100. The Fate of Ophelia.
Wait, that's one, right?
That's track one.
So, I like this one. I listened to it twice.
Okay.
I think it sounds good. It sounds different. So I think it's good that she started it sounding different than what she normally sounds. Mm-hmm. I think that was a good intro for her, which is a good thing.
With you talking about with the piano?
Yeah, just however the song starts, like sonically, it established that this is going to be different than the last 900 albums she's made that sound like you could just press play at the beginning of one and you hit stop at the end of it. And again, I know it's nuanced. I'm talking mostly about what I've heard.
Sure. Yeah.
You've heard a lot more. You've delved into it a lot more. I do think that that was a good. It's a pretty good song.
I mean, I gotta be clear. She's and I think there's a lot of people that feel the same way I do. And I know this sounds weird. She's like somebody I went to high school with, like, because she was there. She was there when I was in high school, and it's like most people in high school, you don't really know them. You don't know them. You see them. They pop up on your social media. She pops up on my social media. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of vibe, So yeah, to your point, yes, but continue, please.
I don't have the lyrics up. Hold on, let me pull them up. But I do think that it was just an interesting song. I think the lyrics are a gem.
Do you know what the song's about?
Ophelia? The Shakespeare thing.
Yeah, so it's a throwback to Ophelia. And instead of her feeling like she's drowning and Travis Kelce coming along and rescuing her.
Mm-hmm.
Killer Trav, that's what I call him because that's what his Instagram handle is. So I refer to him as Killer Trav.
So she apparently has a bunch of different relationships with guys. And this I'm talking about Shakespeare Ophelia. In the play, she has a bunch of relationships with a bunch of guys, and this kind of prevents her from growing. And I can see that because most of her albums at the beginning were about her breakups.
The first 11 albums, yes.
I believe you. And that's the reputation she got with me, and that's why I think she kind of just blended in because she was very popular. But then there wasn't anybody like, again, you have the few people, the Beyoncés, you have the Nicki Minaj's, you have. I would say Pink is as talented as her. I would say I don't know if Pink's as popular. And a lot of people like Pink.
I'm just going to make one statement, and I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to pick on anybody. At the end of the day, Taylor Swift is a songwriter, and that's why she has so much material. Mm-hmm. She can't fall back on anything else. She sings well enough. She's a good singer. She's gotten way better.
Yeah.
But she's not Adele. She's not a singer like Adele or Beyonce. Okay. Mm-hmm. They can always fall back on their singing abilities.
Yeah.
She's got her songwriting, and that's what's gotten her to this point, and that's what will continue to get her in the long term. Just like Bob Dylan, just like the Beatles.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
What about her, and not necessarily not in comparison, but her in relation to like Alicia Keys? And I know two different instruments. I get it.
Yeah. They're all different fruits in the grocery store.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody's got their preference, but Taylor Swift's kind of like apples. Everybody likes apples, but not everybody likes apples. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is the biggest selling album ever. She beat Adele. First week album sales. Mm-hmm. She beat everybody. She beat herself. I mean, at this point, the only competition she has long term is to try to outsell Elvis. She's never going to outsell the Beatles because people just don't buy records like they did back in the 60s. And the only record she didn't break with this album was amount of streams in the first 24 hours, and that's because her last record had 31 songs on it. So she couldn't beat her own record because this one only had 12. And it's like, that's where she's at. So it's not that I don't want to have the conversation, but like it's increasingly harder to have a conversation comparing her to Alicia Keys or Adele or Beyonce, with all due respect, or Pink or any of these other people. even male artists from the last 25 years, what Justin Timberlake, Justin Bieber, the Justins, and Ed Sheeran, any of these people, because I don't mean to be rude, but none of them have had a 19-year career where she's unstoppable. And I thought when 1989 came out, that was like going to be the peak of Taylor Swift. And Folklore hits, and I'm like, this is it. And then the Eras Tour hits, and I'm like, this is it. And then it's like, she just keeps. Does that make sense? So it's like, I just don't know even how to go about some of these conversations, because I don't mean to be rude, but a lot of these artists that have been named or have not been named, and some of them I haven't named on purpose, they've got great material, but at one point or another, they were into something else. They did a career pivot, or they had a couple bad records, or they just weren't feeling it anymore, or they don't care, and that's their prerogative. But like, does that make any sense? Like, I don't know. I just don't know how to compare her to some people. Like, I love, dude, Alicia Keys to back to your point, Alicia Keys has an incredible voice. She's incredible, but in 2025, in terms of an international base and marketing and everything like that, I don't know.
That's why I'm not debating popularity, because I think that what she does really good is she seems to be really smart about keeping herself very prevalent. Like to announce the album, but she also, not for nothing, Travis Kelce's very popular too.
Dude, this is gonna sound insane. Okay, I am not a sports guy at all. Okay, I knew about the New Heights podcast. That's the one Travis does with his brother Jason, because they had Adam Sandler on last year, and I love the Sandman. And I was like, wow, what a great interview, So when it was, her being on there, I watched it and it ended, and I'm like, fucking Jason Kelce's up there with Larry King for me. Is like best interviewer. I watch their show every single week now. They just had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on. It was fucking great. So, dude, that's the fever. That's the infection Taylor Swift has. Rob Fishbeck's watching a sports podcast every week now because I think these guys are hysterical. Who saw that coming?
You. But I think that, and that's why I say that in terms of popularity, she does things very well. In terms of being present and being like on the scene. Because to go on New Heights podcast, which is super popular too, like she might have helped, but it wasn't because they're not popular and they're not.
But it's also the Kansas City Chiefs have won 4 Super Bowls in the last 6-7 years, And
then Jason won one too.
In 2018,
Jason won one too, and it's just like, so. I think that popularity, right? Like Beyonce doesn't do stuff anymore outside of go to the album and go to the studio, do tours, and come back home. So Taylor has the younger demographic. I think the international young white girl demographic that Beyonce doesn't have. But I also think that Beyonce she's past that stage where she can just sit there and focus on her career all the time. Now, Taylor's just entering that phase where you're getting engaged, you're talking about wanting to have kids and all that stuff. And I think that for her to announce the album on the podcast was super smart. One, for her to show that she is not like this super serious, depressed girl all the time that you might hear in some of her music was important too. Well, you don't really get inside glimpses of a lot of these other singers, and
dude, that was the most authentic. And she's always been authentic, but that interview, dude, that was a game changer.
100%. So I do like that one. And the second one was Elizabeth Taylor. I mean, it's fine. That's what I felt about this. Go ahead.
You can't. No. You gotta let me cook for a second.
Well, you didn't let me.
Elizabeth Taylor.
You didn't let
me.
Do
you think it's forever? I kid you not. Opening weekend of this album, and we'll talk about the show at the movie theater too, which I had an amazing time at. That I just like. Thank you to all the people that went to the movie theater. I had so much fun. That was my first like Taylor Swift event at the theater because I did not see the Eras tour at the theater because, dude, 2023 was one of the greatest years in cinema, and we were knee deep in Oscar season. Okay, which means no fun for Rob. Expertise focus on I went and saw Maestro the weekend. It drove an hour to go see that when Eras tour came out. Okay, that was incredible. But dude, opening weekend, we're driving around in the car with the windows down and driving past college kids, and I'm just like, Elizabeth Taylor. So much fucking fun. Oh my gosh.
Nope.
Yeah, the song's good. I mean, I think the song's really good. But what do you think? You probably don't have too much to say on it, right?
No. It was fine. It wasn't one that stuck out to me. I've heard it probably 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
And that is the song, just the album. And it's maybe because I've never heard a Taylor album before. That's not a single. And not all of the songs grabbed me. They were fun.
Sure.
And I could listen to it.
Sure.
And I go by listenability, right? Because I'm a lyrics person. I'm a big lyrics person.
As a poet who has multiple books out, yes.
Yes. Some of the lyrics in the album overall, and somebody pointed it out to me, and she was like, some of them are just silly. And just some of them are silly. But this is why I moved away. And this is going to be a personal thing of mine. Sure. This is why I moved away from couplets in poetry, because I think sometimes forcing it to rhyme gets in the way. And I think that sometimes forcing it to rhyme makes it hard, because then you're worried about it rhyming, not necessarily worried about it flowing. Like, again, are 10 and 13-year-olds dissecting the lyrics? No, they're going to only say, oh my God, this is the best lyrics ever. But yeah, I mean, it's a Taylor song. It's catchy. I'll probably listen to it again. But it's not one that jumped out to me to listen to again. The Fate of Ophelia, I probably will listen to again.
Okay. So I want to read this quote.
Shoot.
Be my NY when Hollywood hates me. You're only as hot as your last hit, baby.
Yes.
Now this can mean a lot of things.
Yep.
She could be Travis Kelce, could be, her NY, if you will. But this kind of goes back to her move to New York after Red, which again, let's try to stick to this album. I don't want to go too far. I've already gone in the weeds with you. I feel bad about it, but like,
oh, you're fine.
When she moved to New York, that was like a new beginning. It was like a clean slate.
Yeah.
But here's the line this is my favorite line. One of my favorite lines in the whole album. I've been number 1, but I never had 2, and I can't have 1 if I can't have you. And it's like, going back to the Fate of Ophelia, she pledged allegiance to herself, and that was a very famous Instagram post right before she met Travis Kelce. And it's like, yeah, you kind of live your life and you get to a certain point and you're like, well, it's probably just going to be me, but now that she's got this opportunity to be a part of a pair, like a real pair, that's got to be a game changer. And I love it when she gets infatuated with like certain things. I'm assuming she read a book on Elizabeth Taylor or watched a couple of her movies or something, because she was fucking referencing the Chelsea Hotel and Patti Smith on the last record. And she's got that song about Bobby Kennedy on Red, Bobby Kennedy Sr. She was dating RFK Jr.'s son for a while. I believe Connor. When she gets kind of infatuated with these like I'll call them like historical figures, I guess you could say. You got anything else on Elizabeth Taylor?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Can I take the lead on this one?
On Opalite?
Yeah.
She must.
But my mama told me it's all right. You were dancing through the lightning strikes, sleepless in the onyx night, which means depression. But now the sky is opalite. Oh my Lord, never made no one like you before. You had to make your own sunshine, but now the sky is opalite. Dude, this is one of my favorite songs of this century. Like, straight the fuck up and down. Because what is this song? This song is the light after the darkness. This song is the light at the end of the tunnel. And, I think she kind of figured out at some point, everything's kind of half truth, but like, you kind of make your own fate. You make your own luck. You make your own destiny, and that's the thing about opalite is it's like, from what I've read about it, it's like a man-made gem, sort of thing. And the fact that, and I guess it's something her and her mom collect or whatever she was saying in the movie thing I saw. I think this is one of the most danceable songs. I guarantee you this might replace Shake It Off at every fucking wedding and prom is like a dance, like the Taylor dance track. I guarantee like my senior prom Love Story was the big song. Okay. I think whoever's going, all the seniors in high school this year, let me know, put it in the comments when next spring rolls around and y'all go to prom. Is Opalite? Is that the fucking song that's played at prom? What was your prom song, Achille? What was your big prom song? What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 96. There's no way I'm remembering the big prom song.
All right, what are all your thoughts on Opalite?
This one was actually okay lyrically. I had a bad habit of missing lovers past. My brother used to call it eating out the trash. It's never going to last. I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts, and all the perfect couples said, we know you. And when you don't, you don't. I like the chorus, though. And all the foes and all the friends have seen it before. They'll see it again. Life is a song. It ends when it ends. I was wrong. And I do think that, that's big. Big reflection. Okay, so.
No, I'm listening to you. Keep going.
No, I know. Live your life. That's a big reflection as an artist to look back transparently at your old work and say, wow, maybe I was wrong about this topic, or maybe I was wrong about this subject. And I'm not bragging, but I have maybe 1,500 poems by this point. So sometimes you do have to look back at what you have written or what you've put together. And you write too, so I'm sure you do this too when you're like, maybe I wasn't wrong
now, but yes.
You write film.
Yeah.
When you look back and you say, okay, here, do I have to do a read? Do I have to do a part 2 to answer myself? One of my books, I actually did a part 2 to a song I wrote, and it was like my response to it. A poem I wrote, it was my response. So I think that a lot of times the growth is intrinsic and it comes to extrinsic, and people have to look intrinsically first. When you're a singer-songwriter, I know she got help on writing because everybody does. I don't care.
She writes all her lyrics, but yeah.
Yeah, but everybody gets input, help, assistance, whatever you want to call it. You have to. There's no way to stay relevant for 15 albums and just have it all be you, because it's
and basically like not listen to anybody's criticism. Yeah, right, exactly. So I don't know if you know this or not. So the line, I used to live with ghosts, or I thought my house was haunted. I used to live with ghosts. Now, I can relate to that in my own life as somebody who lived with a lot of ghosts for a long time until you metaphorically exorcise them and drive them out in one way or another. But this is kind of a callback to a song on the album Folklore called 7, where she literally uses the line, I think your house is haunted. And I know you don't know this, but she was in a relationship with this guy named Joe for a long time. And Lover, well, technically Reputation too, but stick with me for a second. Lover was like The Life of a Showgirl to Travis is kind of like Lover to Joe, but and this is only in retrospect. Okay. So for anybody online that's like, I knew this since 2019, it's like, you're full of shit. she was using the, fictional songwriting. She was using this term a lot. Well, you go back and you look at Lover, Folklore, Evermore, and Midnights, and obviously TTPD, it's obvious. But those 4 records, it's like, and even though she was in this happy, healthy relationship, like things were not all, she was still going through it because, for her to now say, I thought my house was haunted, I used to live with ghosts, that's kind of a callback to a few albums ago where it's like, maybe she didn't even know it. I don't know if you ever go through this, but like, maybe in your mind, you're like, oh, I think I'm doing all right. And then you realize, no, maybe I'm not doing so hot right now. And I think sometimes people are like, oh yeah, I'm in a happy relationship, or like things are good or whatever it is. And then maybe once you get some time and distance, you kind of realize like, oh, fuck. Like, does that make any sense?
Yes. I think that when you're looking at relationship, the arc of the relationship, the best movies that have relationships in them are the ones where the relationship matters. You get a lot of these movies where the girlfriend, the boyfriend is just there like eye candy or just decorative. Like, oh, sometimes they'll say something or they'll be, oh, I need you, honey. And then they're gone. They don't play a role. But that's not how relationships really work. The best relationships have some degree of partnership. And that doesn't have to mean it's 50-50. It's just partnership where one person has a role, the other person has a role. So a lot of times when you're in a relationship, you're doing this. Oh, what are you talking about? Everything's great. Everything's sweet. No, I didn't hear you yelling at me. What? And the arc of a relationship is that sometimes you're going to have good days. Sometimes you're going to have bad days. And I think because she lives so much in the negative in albums about relationships, because you're looking at a relationship that's gone by. And I don't know if she wrote albums when she was in relationships with certain people about them. But from what I know, this is the first time she's coming up with an album when she's in a relationship with somebody that's actually on the surface super healthy.
Bingo. That's the key word. Healthy.
Yeah.
It's a healthy relationship. Yeah, I think the song's great. And like I said, I look back at her last couple records and just go, whew, like I want to tell that person there, like, it's going to get better. Like, even though you think things are okay, like things are going to get real dark and then things are going to get better. And that's, to me, that's Opalite. That's why the song's so great, is because it's literally the light at the end of the tunnel. And it's such a danceable song.
Yeah. I don't think I had any other takes on it. Like, and this is another song that I could put on and listen to. I don't have a strong dislike. I mean, it's a good song. It's fine.
Sure.
I mean, but that's how I am with a lot of modern music. And I do think that the biggest probably disconnect is that Taylor's where I was 20-something years ago. And, and for me, it's like looking at a person who's just entered into her 30s, right? Who's in that place where by 30, whatever she is, 31.
She's 30. She's going to be 36.
I didn't know she was that old. She's going to be 30. By 36, had 2 kids already, had a marriage already. And then I think me and Patty had just started talking. Okay. So, and I'm not knocking it, because you do. I have books that I've written when I was single and books that I've written when I was with somebody.
But there's a disconnect, because it's like been there, done that.
Yeah. And I think that's why when people say like the intended audience, I think that your music, your writing, your art has to be, it can be specific, but it has to also be general enough that people can latch onto it. That might be why you like it so much, because I think she's closer to where you are in your stage in life than where I am in my stage in life.
Right.
And I think
like I said, we're the same age, so it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
And that's what I didn't hear in these first few songs. And yeah, people can listen to it, whatever. But I don't feel like it was like, let's, go and protest kind of music. It was, okay, these are songs about me and what I'm going through.
Well, it's always been our stuff. Yeah. So I think this is I'm glad you brought that up, because I think this is a really good time to make this conversation before we go into Father Figure, which has one of my favorite lines in the entire album, because my dick's bigger. Which slay that shit, Tay. Slay that shit. Over the last, so I'm gonna rant for about 2 minutes, and then I promise you this will be like one of my last non-album specific rants of the night. So, I got into the Beatles when I was in kindergarten. So in one way or another, Robert De Niro is my favorite actor, but I also love Humphrey Bogart movies and Alfred Hitchcock and Billy Wilder. So I kind of grew up yearning that I wish I would have been born way earlier, so I could have seen these movies when they came out, or bought these albums when they came out, or seen the Ramones at CBGB, or Elvis Costello, or Blondie, whatever. So I've always kind of been attached to Silent Generation, yes, but specifically baby boomer generation pop culture. And while living my own, I watched The Office when the pilot came out, 2 years before everybody else caught on the show. So Curb Your Enthusiasm, whatever. But I say this to say, over the last year or so, I've really started to notice the generational gap between the baby boomers and the millennials, because I can only speak as a millennial. I can't speak for Gen Z. And I say this to say, whether it's some of the stuff that's gone on politically, some of the stuff that's gone on just in terms of cultural conversations, et cetera, I'm really noticing the gap between baby boomers and millennials. And it's as stark as I'm sure it was for the baby boomers with the greatest generation, if you will, in the 1960s or even in the 70s. And this is why I say this. I've heard things like, oh, did you hear? We're going to get to Wood, but did you hear Wood? Oh, it's controversial. Oh, I'm driving in the car. I'll shout her out. Driving in the car this summer with my mom, going to visit some family members, and I had Folklore on, and Betty's on, and she uses the F word a few times in the song. And my mom, she doesn't listen to Taylor Swift anymore, but she did those first couple records, and she audibly gasped. And this song's 5 years old. She audibly gasps, and she goes, "Did she just use the F word?" And I said, "Mom, she's 30. She was 30 years old when she wrote this album." I said, "Mom, the word fuck means nothing to my generation. It's not that's not edgy. It's a good exclamation point or punctuation or a verb or whatever, but it's not." So I say this to say, I've heard a handful of baby boomers shocked about this album, having not listened to any of it. Because when I've asked them, I said, "Well, did you listen?" "Oh, no, I didn't listen to it." That read these tabloids because Taylor Swift uses some vulgar language, or she writes a song about Travis Kelce's dick, or whatever it is. And it's just really? That's where the outrage is coming out. You guys sound like those people in the 80s that were "Oh, rap music's the devil's music," or those same people in the 1950s that saw Elvis Presley shaking his hips on the Ed Sullivan Show, or the Milton Berle Show, and we're "Oh my God, that's the Antichrist. That's the devil right there." And it's bitch, please. Taylor Swift has been in the music business for 19 fucking years. You guys were shocked when Elvis came out in 55. You couldn't believe it. They got over it pretty quickly, because guess what? Those same people that were shocked seeing Elvis shake his hips were buying tickets to his concerts a few years later. Okay. When NWA put Straight Outta Compton out in the fucking 80s, and all the white conservative moms in America were "We need parental advisory labels. This is the devil's music." It's dude, 2 presidents ago, we had a president 2 presidents ago that listened to hip hop on the regular. These things are not edgy anymore. So What the fuck is well, she has a really young fan base. Okay. Well, then the parents need to say, all right, I don't want my kids to listen to Betty or, Question, which is on midnights, or anything that uses the F word. So that's where the parents have to step in and say, we're going to listen to the clean versions, or guess what? You've got all these albums with, and it's all fine. You know what I mean? And to be honest with you, most people that are playing their children Taylor Swift music, where they're not getting turned on to Taylor Swift on their own, they're also Swifties. Most Swifties are adults. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? I had to rant about that because those things drive me insane. It's like, what's edgy today in 5 years will be G-rated.
But I think that what's happening is that so much stuff is not edgy today. To me, it sounds like a writing device when she curses. It doesn't sound like it doesn't sound right because, again, you're not used to hearing her curse. And when I listened to the unedited version, I was just like, I mean, I started in the car and then I was like, all right, let me just put this on the YouTube so I can watch it and look at the lyrics. I think it's always been you don't want people to curse and all of that stuff. Now, I think there are some people that curse way too much and use sex and use the N-word too much. Yes.
Well, not that part. I'm put my hand down on that one. But
right. But yeah. But I do think that she doesn't curse a lot, even when she's cursing.
Right. And she only does it, like she uses it is like, that's the correct word to use in this sentence.
Yep.
Does that make sense? She's not just doing it to do it. And spoiler alert to all the baby boomers out there that are shocked and outraged. She's not doing it to get a rise out of people or to try to be controversial or anything like that. Because let's be honest, there was a lot of rap music that came out in the early 2000s that was very degrading towards women, talking about beating women and slamming women down. And it's like, where was the outrage for that then? But like, this because, and I think some of it comes down to sexism. I really think some of it comes down to sexism. Because she's a woman, she's held to a different standard.
Yep. I don't think that there was outrage, but the problem is that, and we're going to go into this in a little bit, the world of the Swifties in disarray. It's not what they want. They want her to be sad and heartbroken and upset. Excuse me. Some of them do, yes. The videos and the stuff that I was watching, particularly so the reason why I presented this to Robert and our other silent partner, Ryan, is because I wanted to look at the politics going on around these albums.
Let's have this conversation now then before we get to Father Figure, because this is perfect.
Okay. So I was watching Matt Walsh. I saw a clip. I clip his shows. I clip most people's shows. There are very few shows I can watch 4 hours of because, one, I'm busy. One, I'm a therapist. Two, I have a lot of kids that are running around and need me. And I don't have the time to always sit there for 5 hours and watch everybody's show. A lot of people don't like Matt Walsh. I don't particularly care. Just like a lot of people don't like Rogan. I think the stuff they're talking about is interesting. I think Elon Musk is interesting. It doesn't mean I think he's my best friend. I want to be like him. He brought up a video and I sent it to Rob, and I haven't watched it in a while now. But the reason why I wanted to get into the album review is because, one, I've never listened to a full Taylor Swift album. And I think she's very hot right now and she's on top. And then again, she does things at superb time to announce the album. The same day she announces that not the same time she announces engaged. She announced she was engaged a couple of days or weeks before. So you're building up the momentum, which is amazing marketing and advertising on her behalf. Then you see people who, and I think this is what happens. It's the whole idea of being typecast. Well, you don't want actors and actresses and singers to get typecast, but then you typecast them and get mad when they're not in that type. Like you can't, they always play the same role, but you want to see them in that role. Jenna Ortega is going to be playing a 19-year-old girl for the next 20 years. Then she's going to move into like a middle-aged, like a 25-year-old young mom.
Then she'll be.
And then she'll move
in the same genre. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it'll be maybe 45. She might start to play a mom. But again, she's typecast. So you want Taylor to be the sad, angry little girl when she's almost 40, and her cursing in the album shouldn't surprise you any more than Jay-Z cursing in the album. Shouldn't surprise you any more than Nicki Minaj. And I know Nicki Minaj is a writer, and Jay-Z, and that's why I use that specifically as they're rappers, you know. But sometimes the curse is there for impact, and sometimes the curse is there because that's what I would say naturally.
Impact's a great way to use it because I think of the song Betty all the time on Folklore, and it's like, I'm sure when she wrote that song, whether it was her or somebody on her team was like, whoa, this is the first time you're using a word like that in your music. Yep. But if you listen to the song, and I encourage you to check out Betty sometime if you get a chance, it's very impactful because it puts a giant exclamation point on the statement that she's trying to make in the song.
Yep.
About this couple. Okay.
Yep.
So no, I agree. I 100% agree. I also could not agree more. There are, again, I'm not going to name people. I just don't give a shit. Right. There are people that have their content creators and make their bones creating content for about Taylor Swift stuff, and it's very popular. And this goes back to my statement earlier. I could tell the stark difference between people that are, you know, again, they might not be happy in general, but like they're trying. Yeah. That we're drooling over this album, and people that are like, no, I want my sad, angsty Taylor that's heartbroken, and because I'm heartbroken and I'm a miserable person and I want to be miserable and I want Taylor Swift to be miserable with me and we're going to live at the bottom of the well. And it's like, if you want to spend your life that way, that's fine. And even happy people fall into the well from time to time. I've done it, but I also make a conscious effort to pull myself out of the well and keep going, you know, and this is that. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen 10 years from now in her life, but God forbid you can just let her be happy for now. You know, I don't know. I got 3 sisters, so it's like, it's a little personal, but it's just like, let the girl be happy. My God, I've been listening to this woman for 19 years. I've never heard her sound happy like this. I'm so happy for her. You know, this is no bullshit. When she put her fucking engagement post out, I had a fucking tear in my eye. And I'm like, oh my God, Rob. Like, I thought about the Succession quote. Are you fucking crying? Are you fucking crying? And it's like, how am I getting emotional over somebody I don't even know? But because it's just, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, because it resonates with you. That's what a good artist does. That's what a really good artist is able to do. They're able to take their music and give you something to connect you. They're able to take their writing and give you something to connect you. They're able to take their script, their play, whatever it is. There has to be a morsel of something in it for everybody who reads it. Even if you're not this and that. Let's look at We Are the World. Right? You have all of the top singers in the world singing, coming together, and a song that they wrote like apparently in like a day or two. You have all these people coming together, and they did it like that because you can't say it's a rap song, you can't say it's an R&B song, you can't say it's a country song, you can't say it's a soft pop. It's everything. They wanted that's what an album, that's what a book, that's what a movie, that's what a performance should be like. It should be something for everybody to walk away with. And you're walking away with stuff. And to me, that's the whole point of her making music.
I mean, I think that's the goal for every artist in any discipline that's out there, is to be able to connect with people, you know, and again, it's like, you know, if you're happily married, if you're my age, which I have a lot of friends that are happily married with multiple children at my age. And, you know, maybe Tortured Poets Department was just like, kind of like how you'd said, like, been there, done that when we were talking about Opalite. Yeah. I think for some people, you know, they heard Tortured Poets Department, they're like, oh, wow, this is really good. But then they don't go back to it because it's like they're living their happy life, doing their, you know, and they don't want to be bogged down by misery. But then they hear this album and they're like, oh, yeah, you know, especially women or even some men like myself that are like, yeah, she said it perfectly. Like, I couldn't agree more, you know? So it's like, but like I said, we don't know what the future holds. got, 3 albums from now, that could be her saddest album yet.
Yep.
And I don't know if I want to hear what that's. I don't know if you get any sadder than Tortured Poets, but like, again, why don't we live in the moment, dude? Why can't people just be allowed to like live in the moment?
So, and this goes back to the conversation we were having earlier about the whole idea of therapy and stuff like that. And as a therapist, what I feel like is sometimes when people are in a good headspace, they don't want to be pulled back into a negative, even if it's something that they have to talk about. Right. Like in that moment, in that space, do you want to take them out of a good headspace into a negative or hurt or hard headspace that they have to climb back out of? And I had one person tell me, I'm good. I was like, okay. I'm like, well, if you don't want to go into it, she's like, and they were like, no, I'm okay with being sad right now. I'm like, okay, listen. I give that offer all the time. Somebody's in a good place. And like, oh yeah, I don't have my, okay. We don't need to spend an hour digging out your soul and all of that if that's not what you don't want to do. So for me, that's very much a skill that you have to be able to do. But you have to be okay with saying, maybe an hour is what I need to get paid the most money, but maybe half an hour is what Rob needs, or half an hour is what Achille needs, so that we're not upset. We're not frustrated. And I'm letting you, the point is to get you to a good place. So with her, when people want her to stay where they are, that's selfish. She can't stay where you are. She's not that anymore. Like at this moment, I mean, if her and Travis break up, I don't want that to happen because they seem nice together. If that's something that, if it's just publicity or whatever, if that's not where she's at right now, let her exist where she is. Because what happens is you'll get better music from her when she's motivated by what she has going on.
Right. And often we've not heard her motivated by love. We've heard her motivated by heartbreak. And I think you get a different product depending upon what you're motivated on. If you're motivated by fear, what does that product sound like?
Yeah.
And again, this goes into every discipline within the arts, whether it's poetry or paintings or film or music. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. 100%. I'm going to call audible because I have to get up early and I don't think we have to go over everyone. I am going to talk about the ones that didn't resonate with me. Okay. You can say what you want and then we'll go back. Because I know I'm assuming you liked Eldest Daughter.
Eldest Daughter and Ruin the Friendship, I definitely want to talk about. But yes.
Okay, we're going to talk about those. We'll probably talk about Wish List because I have something I want to say about it. Okay.
So let's start. So this is all
I want to do the ones that I don't like.
Oh, the one. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
To me, Ashley Romantic was okay.
It's about the haters. Haters gonna hate.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Wait, where is it? She does sound like, what I would say is that a lot of it has the underpinnings of her being mad at the music industry and how it's treated her. And
well, specifically Big Machine Records and Scooter Braun and Scott Barrett. Shut up. Father figure, the first 200 times I listened to it, I was like, God, this song's about fucking Big Machine Records. And then she on the talk show was like, I was inspired by the show Succession, and I'm like, fuck you were.
She's a spirit animal.
Fuck yeah. All right, keep going.
Canceled and Honey, I listened to them twice. I don't remember anything about them, honestly.
You can call me Honey. I love Honey. That's
okay.
So good.
We can talk. Yeah. You can talk about it then. If
you like. I mean, there's not a lot to say. I mean, again, I'll make this statement now. My only regret from the last however many months is I did not live stream my reaction to listening to this album for the first time at 11 o'clock at night Central Time when it dropped, because it was an emotional roller coaster. My jaw dropped. I smiled many times. I teared up. I fucking cried once. I had chills. I have not felt that listening to an album in years. But with a song like Honey, I just think about all the women that I've known in my life or that are in my life, and I'm just like, God, yeah, how many times, and it's usually an older woman, and that's one of the things I wrote down, like women hating women and versus women supporting women.
Yep.
And like, it's usually a woman that's a little bit older. Maybe she's jealous because the younger woman is in her prime or whatever. And that skirt's too short, or why are you wearing that shirt, or whatever it is. And it's like, there's so much hypocrisy, because it's like, I guarantee you, if you combed over that person's life when they were a certain age, doesn't matter what the age is, they probably did the same shit. But you know, now they've had 3 kids and they got love handles and a belly, and you know, because they can't wear short skirts anymore, they don't want to see you in one. And so it's just like, I hear that song and it makes me think of 100 things. That's just one of them. But it's just like, I think that song's got is a little bit about, you know, 2 things. One being, you know, you think men can be nasty to other men, women can be way nastier to other women. But then number 2,
not even close.
You know, whenever somebody's called her honey, or, and this, it doesn't have to just be another woman, but like, you know, it's okay when Travis Kelce calls her honey, because it means something different now. Where that term in the past had a negative connotation.
It's been weaponized against her.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? The only thing I want to say about Wood, is that you mentioned it, but it came in like the Jackson 5 beat, like, damn.
I want you back. It's called an interpolation. Yeah.
I liked it.
It's like an homage.
I liked it. There's a lot of Travis influence in the album, which is what is interesting.
And I think the reason people are latching onto it that aren't like me or the other millions of people that are out there, she's always done this. But this is way more on the surface level, which I think is a term that you used before. It's brought into the light, whereas like I didn't know All Too Well was about Jake Gyllenhaal until years after that song came out. You know, I didn't know.
They dated?
Oh yeah. You know, obviously I knew Dear John was about John Mayer, obviously. I believe Out of the Woods is about Joe Jonas. Don't quote me. But again, this was another like 5 years after the song came out. Somebody was like, "Oh, you know, it's about Joe Jonas," and I was like, "I didn't know that." Oh, that's, you know, because like, I don't get into tabloid shit. I'm in it for, again, I'm so pure.
You're
in it
for the music.
art.
Yeah, you're in for the music. Yep. And I think that's probably, and I will say, like if you compare this to like Blank Slate or Love Story, this album is to me sounds like it's more artistically grounded and like, and I haven't heard all the more artistically grounded.
No, I want to hear your thoughts.
Like the metaphors and the similes and stuff. This feels like art from Taylor, as opposed to her making 20 songs that are popular that you can dance to, that you can sing to.
So you really like the lyrics, huh?
Some of them are really silly.
I know.
But overall, it's probably more artistic than a lot of the stuff that I've heard from her. Okay. Like Shake It Off, to me, it's not it's a great song, but it's not artistic. Like,
but I encourage you to go. So that's on 1989. Go listen to the song Clean. Go listen to Clean. That's what I would say. But yes, 100%. I get what you're saying 100%. I could name a bunch of examples, but we won't get into that.
I'm sure you probably could.
No, yeah.
But I think that for somebody who is, and there's probably not a lot of people like me who are parallel to like her.
Okay.
And I would say, if I had the opportunity, and this is gonna ruffle feathers, if I had like the opportunity to go to watch her or watch Pink, I would probably go see Pink over her, not because Taylor's bad or anything, but I think Pink's music I more grew up with than Taylor, because. And
that's your vibe.
Yeah.
That's what you like.
Yeah. But the album did surprise me. Like overall.
But buddy, that's why I didn't go to the Eras tour. I had so much money that year, and Bruce Springsteen was touring, and I was like, shit, this is probably going to be his last tour. So I went and saw Bruce twice instead of going to see Taylor Swift once.
I don't.
And I just hope she tours again. You know, like
I know she's gonna tour again. Well, I mean, again,
but buddy, I mean, if let's say her and Travis get married in the next year, let's say she has a baby 2 years from now.
That's what I'm saying.
That puts a tour out for like 4 years. You know?
That's the Taylor I want to hear. So I want to hear when she is married, when she has kids, because
you can relate.
That change, yes. But that
and dude, what pop album have you ever heard? What like monstrous giant songwriter heavy album have you heard that's about being a parent?
Oh no.
It's the most anti-rock and roll thing you could do, and she's gonna do it, and she's gonna do a great job at it.
Mm-hmm. I don't even get that vibe from Alicia Keys, and she has kids and she's married. I don't get that.
I don't get that vibe from Beyonce, no offense. She's got multiple kids.
She does. I don't think that. I think what Beyonce and Taylor do really well, and Pink do really well, and I mean Alicia Keys, they stay in the moment.
Okay.
Of what's working for them. Where I think like when you have like an outlier like Kanye, you don't have to like Kanye, but he's super talented and he's able to go to different genres of music. A lot of people can't do that. You know, he has the luxury of being the producer, so he can produce whatever he wants.
Right.
So I think that's really hard because even when I write about stuff like outside of typical topics I write about, you have to go to a different headspace first. Like when I write from a woman's perspective, I have to go to that perspective and be like, oh, okay, I got to try to understand what it would feel like in this situation. But you're only supplementing yourself, putting yourself there for a little bit. I think a lot of the artists have to, one, find themselves, and then two, say, okay, this is what's worked for me. I think it's crazy that I've heard that Beyonce wants to go to rock and roll next, which to me, and again, should she? I don't know. But Taylor going to pop. So for me, I feel like Taylor's been transitioning to pop music. I don't think she's been country for a long time. Years ago. Yeah, I don't think she's been country for a long time.
I wanted to say this real well. She might. Some of us are hopeful TS13 will be a country album, but neither here nor there. I'll say this real quick. I said this to Helen over the summer. I was like, because I was listening to Midnights and Tortured Poets a lot, and was like, man, can you imagine if her and Travis get married and have kids? Because you know she's just going to write about her kids. That'll be like the whole album. And we talked then later, and Helen's like, I want to hear that album. Like, I want to hear, because nobody, Taylor Swift is the only person that could get away with it and still sell 4 million fucking copies writing an album about her kids. Okay. Yeah. Number two, and that's like obvious, but number two, that's like the most anti-rock and roll thing, and nobody's ever done it. And if anybody's done it, they've not done it to that level. And it's like, honestly, and I'm going to make a bold statement here, and some people are going to hate that I'm about to say this. I think that's the most feminist thing you can do. Like for the feminists out there, the feminist movement in general, like a lot of, 5 years ago, it was me, myself, and I don't need kids, the child with cat lady stuff, blah, 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 blah. But like straight up, if things work out and you and Travis have like 3 fucking kids, and 5 years from now, you put or 2 years, you put an album out about having your first child, like, yeah, because guess what? Most women end up getting married at some point and or having kids. Yep. So it's like, for people out there that don't and never plan on it, that's fine. That's totally fine. But for the ones that do, how great would it be for them to have something to relate to? Just like you said yourself, you're a father of multiple children. Like, wouldn't it be cool to hear an album about being a parent?
I think very few artists try to change. Will Smith is good at that. I'm not a huge Will Smith fan, but he's really good at talking about what he's going through. Jay-Z is really good at that, where you see the growth. I would say Nas to an extent. But then you have people like the Lox, the group, where they're still doing the same thing they were doing 20 years ago. And again, that's your lane.
And that's fine. That's
your lane. That's where you're going to live in. That's where you're going to exist. It's hard. And I think that Taylor has to show that, if that's what she's going to do, because I do think that as a songwriter, you have to figure out all right, I'm writing this song about my life. I can't write about 37 breakups when I'm married and have kids.
Right.
I mean, you could, but to me, that doesn't seem authentic.
Right.
But
when you're authentic, you get better stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right, keep going. What else you got?
I want to say, I just want to say this about Wishlist, and we can do the last four. Wishlist sounded a lot like Taylor to me, like traditional Taylor that I've heard. Like maybe a little bit more mature, but I was like, oh, this sounds like a Taylor Swift song.
The production on that still gives me chills. It's so fucking good. And it's in the key of C. I learned it on acoustic guitar a couple of days after the record came out. Most of her songs are in the key of C, spoiler alert, or D. I think it's one of, like, I Just Want You, have a couple kids, got the whole block looking like you.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, some of the TikTok videos I've seen are just so heartwarming, you know, with people using that song. It's great. It's a great, it's, you know, it's really hard to add love songs to the canon of love songs because there's been so many of them and there's been so many good ones.
Yeah.
But she found a way to do it.
Yeah. And everything has been done before.
Yeah.
Everything. Like it's not like you're number one. You're 3 gazillion trillion kabillion in the line of writing about your partner, and you want to say stuff that makes you feel special, makes them feel special, and you want to try to put it, but it's just hard. But you know, I like it because I think it humanizes her, and I think the people that have issues with her and this music from the videos that I saw, they didn't want her to be this is terrible, I can't stand it, this is disgusting, it's so gross to have a block full of Travis. Why? That's her fiance, and that's what you're missing the fact that she's opining about the person that she loves when that's what love was about. Now love songs are about sex and all this stuff, but love songs used to be about actual love and about, you know, giving somebody props and being like, oh hey, I respect you, I love you. But I don't know what your thoughts are.
No, I couldn't agree more. I could have a million things I could add, but for time's sake, we'll keep it to that. I just think it's beautiful. And I think, you know, I think some people would disagree, but I think this is some of the most vulnerable material she's ever put out. Here's why. It's not vulnerable for her to put out vulnerable songs about heartbreak. But for her to put it all out there and really tell the whole world how much she loves this man and that she's not scared of him leaving, that shows she really must be in a healthy place. And, you know, I don't think people think about this stuff. I do, because I do for a project I'm working on. When you're that famous, there are so many things you can't do. Your life is very different from ours.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's obviously got a lot of pros. She's never going to want for money. She's never going to want for anything.
Yeah.
But it's got to be lonely.
Yep.
At times. Because you can't just get in the car and go to Walmart. You know. But for her to put her vulnerability, for her love of this man into the world, that says something.
But that's what art is. That's what creating is. That's what when you're an art, because everybody gets caught up in the money and all that stuff. If you're really out there just to be an artist, then you make $5, and you know this because I know you've done this when you were performing. You perform for $5, you perform for $100, you perform for $200. Right? When you're performing, you're doing it because you love to perform, you love the art, and you believe in what you're saying. Right. A lot of people don't do that. That gets lost in the shuffle, and then you have people that are like, "Oh no, Taylor, you're being this, you're being that." Well, what the fuck do you want her to do? Like, again, to me, it's not authentic for her to write. Can you have a sad song and a breakup? Yeah, but at some point you have to heal and move on. That's what she's showing, that she can heal and move on.
If
and
you want
use the word of hope.
Yeah, if you want to, and she did.
Yeah.
So, Life of a Showgirl's great song. Sabrina Carpenter slayed it. They slayed it.
My second favorite.
Canceled. Canceled's great. Did you like Canceled?
Canceled blended in for me. I had to listen to it again. I watched it twice and I just zoned out. So
yeah, I think we went over all the tracks except for the two
three.
that I definitely want to talk. Oh yeah, go ahead.
The three. Father Figure, I know you want to talk about. Eldest Daughter and Ruined.
Well, I briefly already talked about Father Figure. I want to know more your thoughts on Father Figure.
I like the beat on Father Figure. I like that.
How about the key change at the end where it goes up?
Yes. I mean, again, I have clients who are and people that work in the industry that actually hold on a second. Did she write a song about her man? Yes, King Sport. She wrote a song called Wood, not about.
Oh, I got us on full screen. I can't see if there's.
I know.
In the chat.
I saw it. Yes, and hi Andrew. Happy Halloween to you too.
Hello all.
I would say that Father Figure, like you said, I think it's her issues with the industry, her issues with.
You know what happened, right?
No, I don't.
I'll give you the 10-second version. She signed a contract.
Yep.
Okay. And they sold her music to somebody bought her music.
Yep.
Okay. And she spent a long time trying to buy her music so she could own her own music.
Yeah.
This is everything pre-Lover.
Yeah, she made the Taylor's versions and all that stuff.
Right. And she talked about this on the podcast, and this is when I got emotional watching the podcast because I get it because we're both also artists.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you create it, you should own it. You know, so the fact it cost her $500 million, whatever the fuck, some crazy amount of money, $300 million to buy her masters back's great. But that's part of what that song's about.
Yeah.
Is somebody found her when she was young, helped her out, was a father figure, but ultimately fucked her over. But Taylor Swift is the father figure by the end of it because turns out her dick's bigger and she'll fucking burn your house down. Because she is that lady.
Yeah.
All right. Eldest daughter.
The same thing happened with Jay-Z. He owns the masters of all his albums, but the first one, which is Reasonable Doubt. And it was just a big thing because Dame Dash was trying to go out of his way to not make sure Jay-Z got it. Because they used to be friends, they used to work together, and now they're falling out. Okay. So it's that same thing. But I think it's awesome that she got her masters back. That's a big thing, and people don't understand when they're signing their first deals because they just want to sign. They're not, it's hard to, unless you're going to go independent, which is, even if you go independent,
if you go independent, you might not get to Taylor Swift's level.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Trust me. Because I own my own fucking record company because I saw a Tom Petty documentary when I was a teenager and was like, fuck those record companies. I'm going to be independent. But the record companies help you get on billboards,
Yeah. You have to decide if you want to be rich or if you want to make art.
Right. And if you're very lucky, you can do both.
Yes. But from what I've heard, Taylor Swift's dad had money and that helped her get on. I don't know if it's true. That's what I heard a long time ago.
No, they weren't a poor family.
Yeah.
No.
We can go to my favorite or we can go to your favorite. Let's go with your favorite.
All right. Well, just because I have all the tracks in my head. And I know we've kind of gone a little bit out of order, but yeah, tracks 5 and 6 we'll do them in order. So immediately on the first listen, like again, don't get me wrong, like a lot of the songs like literally blew my mind. But Eldest Daughter just took me to a whole nother place. And I still don't know if I've come back from it. It's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful song. And the opening words I hear a lot of people say are cringe, they're bad lyrics, they're whatever. But to me, it's like it goes back to folk music. It goes back to Bob Dylan and Woody Guthrie and singing about the times. And these are not the times of yesteryear. So for her to say everyone's so punk on the internet, everyone's unbothered till they're not, every joke's trolling and memes, sad as it seems, apathy is hot. Everyone's cutthroat in the comments. Every single hot take is cold as ice. By God, man, did she hit the nail on the head? Man, that's like put that in the time capsule, right?
No. Yep.
When you found me, I said I was busy. That was a lie.
Mm.
She's talking about Travis there, but there's a, she says, when I don't believe in marriage, that was a lie. So I'm going to educate you briefly because I know we don't have a lot of time. This is track 5. So Taylor Swift has this thing with track
with numbers.
With numbers in general, but specifically the track 5s. Those are usually like either the most personal or the most sentimental, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a sad song, but like some of the track 5s in her past have been White Horse, Tolerate It, So Long London, You're on Your Own Kid, The Archer, All You Had to Do Was Stay. Anyways, so a lot of Swifties put a lot of chips into whatever track 5 is going to be. And it's funny because you got Ruin the Friendship and I got Eldest Daughter. Some people bitch that they wish Ruin the Friendship was track 5 and not track 6. Okay. But to me, this is what the album comes down to. This is what the idea of a track 5 comes down to. I mean, God, dude. This whole song, I'm going through the lyrics right now. This song's absolutely incredible. But see if I can get through this without choking up. We lie back, a beautiful, beautiful time lapse, Ferris wheels, kisses, and lilacs, and things I said were dumb. Because I thought that I'd never find that beautiful, beautiful life that shimmers that innocent light back, like when we were young. That's the whole album. Dude, that's the crux of the album. A spark was lit and that's turned into a flame, but she never thought that was going to happen. Anyways, I think it's a beautiful song. I think I mean, she calls out the eldest children and the youngest children, and I think that's pretty accurate. I'm the oldest child in my family. I think a lot of that's pretty accurate. And it's true. You put on a brave face and, and anyway, you got any thoughts on Eldest Daughter?
Oh, I like it. I liked it a lot. What did I write about it? I didn't put any notes next to it. So that, I have to listen to it again. I like the lyrics to it, actually. They're pretty.
Sure.
Very poetic. And, again, I'm biased to the lyrics. And I'm biased to lyricism. But when I think stuff sounds, when it reads pretty in lyrics, I think it usually makes the song better. Because this shows that she's letting you inside what it's like to be, the oldest daughter, but also trying to figure out how to navigate life. And she also has the girls that you said that like were influenced her. She influenced. But yeah, I thought it was a good song.
Yeah, no, I mean, in the music business, she's the eldest daughter.
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks is our grandmother. Debbie Harry. But yeah, no, she's the eldest daughter. Again, I just think, I think it's the crux of the album. It's the meat of the album to me. And it's, like I said, maybe this song's not for the 16-year-olds. I don't know. But I sure as hell know that people that are in their 30s can relate to this song, So I'll say that. All right, you want to talk about Ruin the Friendship?
No, I want you to keep talking about Eldest Daughter. Go ahead.
I mean, those are my thoughts on it. Like the last time I laughed this hard was on a trampoline in somebody's backyard. I must have been about 8 or 9. Somebody's backyard, falling off of a trampoline. It's like, whoa, yeah. Jason Isbell has spoken about this, about the details of the song. Maybe you can't relate to those details, but you can relate to something similar to it. So when an artist gets real detailed in some of their words and imagery that they're invoking, you want to make it universal. You want to make universal songs that everybody can relate to. Like the Beatles, I think, did that very well. But like, and she does it well too. But like, when you get something that's so detailed like that, and you get the imagery with it, even if you never fell off of a trampoline, I've never broken a bone in my body. You know what I mean? I've never fallen off of a trampoline. But I can relate to that idea of I haven't laughed hard in a really long time. And when you do laugh really hard, you remember it because the older you get, the less often it happens just because you're kind of beaten down by the world in one way or another. You know, when you're running on 5 hours of sleep and you've had 9 clients that day and 2 cancellations and one of your kids is sick and one of your kids has got this and that going on, you're not thinking about, oh, let's have a good laugh, you know?
Yep.
You're like, how do I survive the day? Right? So to me, that's what I take out of it, you know.
I agree. You hit the head on the nail. There's so much that goes into, like, I think when artists become personal, that really lets people in. But I like artists getting personal in slivers, not in big pictures.
Sure.
So I feel like, you know, Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff, that you see so much more of an artist's life. And to me, you know, I don't want to see you at the juicer when you're talking about killing people. I don't want to see you at the game with your daughter and on a picnic when you run around talking about how much love hurts and all that stuff.
I think she's a little more authentic with representing wherever she's at the given moment. You know? Yep. Yeah. And I mean, again, this goes back to 2016, which was a very crazy year to be a Taylor Swift fan because that was the year she went ghost on social media. And ever since then, she's been very careful of what she puts out there.
You know, she has to. You know, and that's unfortunate. Like you were saying, they can't live. How many places do you think, like, Eddie Murphy can go, that Taylor can go, that even Jason and Travis, when you have the recognizable face, where do you think they can go?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I've realized, because I never really thought about this before, but most of my favorite actors, male or female, same with musicians, some of them, they're not on social media. Like, they're just not. You know, some of them used to be. Some of them have social media. Like, here's a good example I'll give. Dakota Johnson. I watched the 50 Shades of Grey movies for the first time, and I was like, oh, what's she up to? I looked her up on Instagram. She's got an Instagram. But you can tell the posts are either made by somebody else or it's only to plug a movie. You know, it's not like, oh, God, there's no stories like, oh, look at what I'm eating for lunch or whatever it is. And like a lot of my favorite, they're older. You brought up Eddie Murphy. That's Dude, he's one of the goats.
Yeah.
I mean, Eddie, are you kidding me? God, I want to rewatch fucking Raw later. I don't think he's on social media because, you know, it's like, wouldn't you kind of want to keep something for you? You know, if you're big and wouldn't you want to, like, I don't want to put, now some of them do it to stay popular. Yeah. Hey, look at me, look at where I'm at. And that's fine. That's their prerogative. But like, if I was Eddie Murphy or Dakota Johnson or any of these people, I probably wouldn't fucking use social media.
Because everybody would think that they have access to you. And I think that's the problem with social media now. Everybody thinks that they're a pundit. Everybody thinks that they're, oh, I can debate you. I can argue with you. I can tell you. I can do a critique. I can do a mutant. And even like we're pseudo reviewing, but we're also pseudo talking about how things are evolving. And I think that her album is a good example of the evolution of music, where it's so much fluff in a lot of these popular songs and songs on radio that when you don't get the fluff, people are like, oh, this is terrible. What's Taylor doing? She's ruining it. Because she's being honest. I like this one the best, Ruined. When I left school, I lost track of you. Abigail called me with the bad news. Goodbye, and we'll never know why. And then, of course, it was not an invitation, but I flew home anyway. With so much left to say, it was not convenient, no, but I whispered at the grave. Should have kissed you anyway. And it was not an invitation. Should have kissed you anyway. Should have kissed you anyway. Anyway, and it was not.
Yeah, this is the song I think about the most. And she even says it, better to ruin the friendship than to ask it all your life. And it's like, it doesn't have to just be that kind of stuff. It could be anything. Yeah. Anything where you're like, I should have done that, or I should at least tried, or whatever. And I think the song's about her just telling people, like, take more chances.
Yep.
Especially in today's world where everybody's scared to do anything because, like, social media and, whatever. And I'm not saying do anything bad, but, like, take chances.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, but this song's about, so she was friends with this guy named Jeff Lang.
Okay.
They were, like, friends when they were, like, teenagers. Mm-hmm. And he passed away about 13, 14 years ago. She's got a song called Forever Winter that's on Red. It's supposed to be about him, or is about him, or whatever. But so this was, again, going back to the OGs, the people that have literally lived this for 3 decades. There's a song called 15. It's on Fearless. It's track 2. In my, like, if you told me, like, what are her 10 best songs, that's one of her 10 best songs is 15. Okay. And her best friend in real life is Abigail. Like, for real. Like, she's probably going to be, like, it's either going to be her or Selena Gomez that'll be her maid of honor. It's probably going to be Abigail. And the song 15 is about going to high school, your freshman year of high school. And it's very, very representative in my life. But I say this to say, there's a line in the song where she goes, you're going to meet your best friend, redhead named Abigail. Abigail has red hair also. So double connection for me. But, and supposedly the song Happiness is about Abigail, but she's never said Abigail's name again in a song. So when she said, so the fact that she's singing about somebody that's dead from a time before, like, when her first album, second album was coming out, when she referenced her friend Abigail. So when she said her name, and the fullest quote, the first time I listened to the album, did not read the lyrics. Wasn't until my third listen that I read the lyrics, because I just wanted to experience it and not get sidetracked with the words. That was like, dude, go on YouTube or TikTok and type in Abigail Taylor. You will see many grown women crying when they did their live reaction to this album. And I can say this as a straight white male, it got me, because it was just like, whoa.
Huh?
Yeah, it's fucking deep. So what else? What are your thoughts? What are your other thoughts on it?
No, I didn't know the backstory. Obviously, the song, I kind of like the lyrics.
Yeah.
Well, I like the lyrics. I didn't, not knowing the backdrop, putting it in the context now, it makes sense. Especially when she said, I should have kissed you anyway. I mean, maybe it was a mutual.
Yeah, they were friends. They were never romantic.
Right. Maybe, but it was maybe the mutual attraction. And a lot of times we don't pull the trigger on stuff like that because we're worried about things changing. And that song is, that's another reflection song where, looking back, you might not have had all those terrible relationships that you had, or those bad ones. And I know the Jonas one was particularly bad from what I remember. The breakup, at least.
She dated Tom Hiddleston.
Did she? I didn't know that.
When you get into the weeds, she's dated a lot of people.
Oh, I know she's dated a lot of people. I definitely know John Mayer, because that was another big one.
There's an ongoing bit for Swifties. I just learned about this recently because I saw a TikTok of it. People go into the music section and where they'll find John Mayer. And they'll take a Taylor Swift CD and they'll put it in front of all the John Mayer CDs and then walk away. To this day. And I'm like, dude, these. Full disclosure, I love John Mayer. He's fucking great. I love his work with Grateful Dead. It's great. Anyways, sorry, I digress.
No, you're fine.
How about 50 Cent's post the next day is like, dude, I'm the only one in the whole album that got a shout out. But as the 50 Cent song played, should have kissed you anyway. And immediately I called Helen and I go, you know she's talking about Hot in Here.
Yeah.
Or not, no, wait. Is Hot in Here 50 Cent? No, Into Club.
No,
I'm
the
sorry.
Club. Yeah.
That one's Nelly. My bad. I apologize. Into Club. They all came out at the same time. I'm like, you know she's talking about Into Club.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, fuck yeah.
Do you? So let's try to keep it concise, Robert.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts on the album, and what grade do you give it? A, B, C, D, F.
Oh, I definitely give it an A.
Okay.
So me and my sisters are supposed to do a Taylor Swift album ranking as a family later this year, which I put together, and I'm very excited about it. But they don't watch this show, so I'm gonna tell the audience what my ranking order is and where I've got this.
Mm-hmm.
So number 1 and number 2 is a tie because I go back and forth. I can't pick. Speak Now in 1989.
Okay.
And then Folklore, and then Midnights, and then Fearless, and then Reputation. And as of right now, Life of a Showgirl's at 7, but it can only go up. It's not going to go down. And then I'm trying to think 8 through so the bottom. So 12 would be Lover, 11 would be Debut, 10 would be Evermore. 9 would be so if Life of a Showgirl 7, Red's 8, Tortured Poets Department's 9, 10's Evermore, Debut, and Lover. So that would be my ranking order. They're all A's until I get to Evermore. I give Evermore a B, I'd give Debut a B, and I'd give Lover like a B minus, maybe a C plus. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I got this at 7 right now.
Okay.
Now, Midnights is still kind of newer, so it might be a little bit of a bias that I got that at 4. So it might shuffle around. I could see Midnights going down like to 7 or something eventually. But I will say, I told somebody my rankings, and they were shocked. I had Fearless at number 5. I said, are you fucking kidding me? Have you listened to that album? Like, it's so fucking great. I mean, it's like, it's Fearless, 15, Love Story, and, like, those are the first 3 songs on the album. And then Hey Steven, which is good, and then White Horse. And it's like, yes, thank you very much.
Yes, you are very much a Swiftie, sir. I'm very proud of you. I'd love to do this again.
What grade would you give it?
Sorry,
I told you, and I apologize in advance for the audience. I told the kid, I was like, I'm just going to go, and I don't know how you're going to control me.
I wasn't trying to control Robert. One, I do feel like you know more about Taylor Swift, and I don't mind working from a disadvantage.
But I love your perspective because it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say I have to listen to it again. I have to listen to it straight through, and I want to listen to it without the lyrics this time.
I want you to listen to Folklore.
Okay. Well, you said to listen to Clean in a Red album.
Well, just Clean on it. Well, if you're going to listen to Red, I would.
You said listen to the Red album.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you should listen to all that. But since I kind of got you on a little bit of a hook and you like lyrics, I really want you to check out Folklore. But yeah, check out. Do you know what I mean when I say All Too Well, the 10-minute version?
No.
Okay. Write that down.
A 10-minute version of a song?
Of All Too Well. Yes.
Is it Taylor's version?
Yeah. And just so you're aware, and I'll put this out there for everybody, you are welcome to text me anytime with any questions, and I will gladly answer. But go ahead.
I would love to do another one of these. I want to do it on Tortured Poet Department. It's a lot of songs, so we're gonna have to.
It could be more of a general conversation.
It's gonna have, and we could pick out like favorite song, worst song, whatever. I know you'll probably be like, sure. Well, my favorite is 1 to 31.
Well, no, my least favorite song on that album is Peter, and it's not because it's a bad song. It's because it's the saddest song I've ever heard, and I've heard a lot of sad songs.
Huh?
And it's as the great John Prine used to say, sometimes you just want to drive by that house and I just drive by that house.
I would probably say I'll give it, because I really have 5 songs I would listen to again right now.
Okay. That's almost half the record.
It's a strong, I say strong C. I want to listen to it again to get a better feel for it, and that could potentially go up. So I'm reserving the right to change my ranking. But I also want to do Torture Poets. I Torture Poets Department. I started listening to it, but I don't always get a lot of straight time to just listen to music.
Okay. Well, I'm absolutely delighted. Like, this is great. I think I'm calling it now for all the people out there that are going to watch this video. We have a goal. We have a community goal, and that is to get Joker into some of this music.
Oh, God.
And like I said, I think the reason I say folklore is like folklore is kind of this album that's almost like over talked about, because she's, for a lot of people, that was when they were like, oh my God, she can write songs. And it's like, bitch, shut the fuck up. She was writing songs this good 10 years ago. But because of the production of them and working with the guy from the National and Jack Antonoff,
yeah,
it kind of had this like prestigeness around it, But anyways, that's cool. Yeah, dude. Pick an album. I mean, TTPD is the longest one you could pick, but pick an album of hers. We can go as deep as you want. I
like it. So in the future, we are going to be going down the Yellowbrook Road of, and it's probably going to end up being in November because apparently we have lives.
Spoiler.
So we'll probably end up doing the horror movie. I do want to talk about Welcome to Derry. I do want to talk about Weapons.
Oh, did you finally see it?
No, it's on streaming, so I'm going to see it.
It is.
I would also like to talk about a third one, which is A Long Walk. I didn't see that one yet, but
that Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah, I want to see the 3 of them, but we might actually do. I mean, and then we'll do like just overall like movies. And
I've been on this like hard Italian horror kick,
and
I'm just fucking eating it up. Love the way the Italians make some of these movies is great.
I always find that the foreign films are usually more free, which is good.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
so now that I guess this would be like my final question before we get out of here. So like, now that you've experienced this, do you think about her differently at all?
It's nice to see an evolution. I did think of her as Keisha Cole was another singer who put out albums, and they were all about breakup. The whole album, her first 4 albums were about breakups and sad songs. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, she's a good sad, but I like sad songs. Sort of like what you saying. I love sad songs.
Sure.
I feel like she is maturing, and I think that's a reflection of her life, which is good. And I think that people need to stop trying to get her from maturing, because you want your artist to mature, because you're maturing, you're getting older. You're not going to stay 13 for the rest of your life. You can only do so many blank slates and, shake it offs and stuff like that. Not that they were bad. Those are great songs.
Sure.
But you do need the father figures and the eldest daughters and, the affiliate songs, because you need to show that, you're learning from what has happened to you and not just staying stagnant. I think all the best artists evolve.
Could not agree more. And it's funny you say that, because when Shake It Off, so she doesn't do lead singles anymore. She hasn't put a single out before an album drop anymore. She hasn't done that since Lover, because Me and You Need to Calm Down are her 2 worst songs in my opinion. But anyways, I digress. When Shake It Off came out before 1989 dropped, I was like, ugh. But then when the album dropped on October 27th, that's track 6. By the time I got to the song on the album, I was like, oh. It took me a long time to like that song. It's kind of like took me a long time to like Born in the USA. I would take any Springsteen song over that one just because I just didn't get it. But then one day it clicked. And then I was like, oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Well, I have a last question for you. What would you learn if you listened from her first song, first album, first song, straight through to her recent album, last song? What would you learn?
I actually did this fun challenge because I saw somebody post this on TikTok, and it was however many days before the new album release to listen to all of her albums. So I did. Mm-hmm. And I'll say this. Did you ask me what did I learn about her?
Mm-hmm. You could interpret it however you want, though.
I've learned so what I learned about her from doing that kind of deep dive. And it had been a while since I like the Vault tracks on Red TV. I hadn't heard those in a couple years. Her like she was good out of the gate, and then she's only gotten better as a songwriter. She's never peaked. But what I learned about her was she just keeps going. Mm-hmm. She doesn't let anybody look. What happened with Kanye, for most people, they would have said, you know what? I got plenty of money. I'm going to go hide out in the woods for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. What music critics have said about her over the years, like her heart getting broken, like most people would have done the opposite that she did. She keeps going. Mm-hmm. And nothing's gonna stop her. And then it's like you go and listen to some of her songs, and it's like she's literally telling you, like, just gonna shake it off.
Yeah,
you know. So that was like mind blowing. But then on the other side of the coin, man, millennials and Gen Zers, like, it's just so different. I know you're a Gen Xer, and so you're kind of like in between us, but like, you know, I just think about like the baby boomers and the silent generation, and like they all got married when they were 20 and fucking bought a house when they were 22. And, you know, like that joke about like the guy was a manager of a shoe store and he was able to buy a 4-bedroom house. And like, you know, yeah, it's not like bad shit didn't happen, because like there was still bad shit that happened all the time. But I look at the last pretty much since the recession, you know, it's funny. Her first album came out in 2006, and then the next year is when the economy started fucking going nuts and the housing market. And like, it's ebbed and flowed. We've had a couple years over the last 15, 20 where things are okay. And this isn't like a political thing. It's just like at large, like we're fucked. We're in a, like, it's not good. So the fact that like she finally found love at 35, and it gives me hope. It gives a lot of people in my generation hope, but it's just like, for me, going and listening to all those albums, like I remember where I was when each of them came out. So it kind of took me back to like where I was in my life. So it was actually really therapeutic, because I was able to go, oh yeah. And then kind of like, I know this sounds crazy, but like I was able to close some chapters going through it, if that makes any sense. I like, who's your, like, do you have like an artist like that like you're roughly the same age and like you've kind of like grown with this person? Or
let's see, grown with them. Say probably Jay's been somebody who's always been resonating with me, because, you know, I do the whole Takara thing. But yeah, Jay definitely. I like his evolution. I like that he's not just talking about being a drug dealer anymore.
Sure. Because he's not.
No, and it would be dumb to keep, you know, talking about it and then potentially get indicted on it. Somebody who, you know, Denzel is somebody that I really look forward to.
Yeah, it didn't have to just be in music, just like because Denzel's a great example.
Because you can see, like, obviously I'm not going to be that Denzel level, but I just see how he is and how he carries himself with people. And it's not, you know, you say something. He was on The View, and Sonny said something, and he didn't get mad. He didn't get pissed off. It was just like, oh, you know, because she was trying to get into a certain talking point. She was like, oh, well, what have you done? What have you done? And he said, hey, listen, just because you don't know about it and don't see me do it doesn't mean I'm not doing stuff to help people. And
He's a good man.
Yeah. Oh, he finished that segment.
Yeah.
Then they said that he left after that segment. He didn't complain. He didn't yell. He was really polite. There was also I don't know how true this is, but when they were doing the Magnificent Seven, they said that Chris Pratt was kind of annoying him because Chris Pratt seems like he was like, oh, always this and that, and he's loud. And Denzel's like, let's get to work, let's get to work, let's get to work. And they said that he didn't complain. He did what he had to do. He was professional. And then he kind of just distanced himself. And that's what I like. I like that quiet, that I don't need to let you take control of my emotions to have a reaction and to show you.
Who was the one that stepped in after the Will Smith incident? It's Denzel.
It was Denzel, yeah.
It was Denzel. That entire room, those people, look, most of those people are scared shitless. They're not going to get another job. Doesn't make them bad people, but they're not going to do anything. But when the cameras were moving or whatever, you saw fucking Denzel standing over. He had his hands on Will's shoulder and he's talking to him. You know, he's probably talking to him about God.
Yeah.
You know, that's Denzel Washington. He was the only one in that whole room that was like, this guy needs my help right now. I'm going to go help him. You know.
I'm trying to think who else. Nikki Giovanni, writing wise. I just found, I didn't realize that she passed away a couple of years ago. So in my new book that I'm working on slowly, but I'm working on it, I did like an homage poem to her. But she was somebody whose writing I always loved because it was so formulaically different than mine. Counting Langston Hughes too, but really like Nikki Giovanni and Sonia Sanchez set the tone for like what I look for in writing. So that was really important. I'm trying to think of anything. Oprah to an extent, but then Oprah, I don't know what she's doing lately. She's just in her own world. But those are kind of the people that like set the tone. My dad was a huge influence on me and how I carried myself like as a father and as a husband. And now it's just, you know, that's where the whole heir to the throne came from, just like following in footsteps and how do you take over your throne. But those are the kind of the people that really showed me that I could look at and be like, oh yeah, I like how you do things. And it's not, you don't hear Jay-Z involved in, I mean, you do, but not like everybody. You don't hear him involved in a lot of stuff. You don't hear, even Jordan. I know Jordan gambling and drugs and not drugs, gambling and drinking and cigars and stuff. But you don't hear him out there like making a lot of noise.
You know, I make controversial statements all the time. So it is what, you know, but it's like, dude, he's fucking Michael Jordan. If the guy wants to go gamble and piss away money and smoke cigars all day, I don't give a fuck. I mean, it's like the guy earned it. Yeah. Go do whatever the fuck you want to go do, dude. That's all. You know, like you were talking about Denzel real quick. I want to say this too. Like, you know, there's somebody's career that I just have so much respect for. You know, he's pivoted when he's needed to pivot, when he's wanted to pivot. He's at the point he does what he wants to do. You know, he used to do some of those movies for the money, I'm sure. He loves working with Antoine Fuqua, obviously. You know, and I still got to check out the Highest to Lowest, the new Spike Lee joint.
I've heard mixed reviews on it. I heard Jeffrey Wright was very good, though. But he's always really good.
Jeffrey Wright's fucking awesome.
He's always really good.
He's great. He's my favorite Felix Leiter in all the James Bond saga series. Yes.
All right, young man. It's time for me to hit the hay.
You got anything you want to plug?
The Halloween show, the 2BD when we're going to do it.
TBD.
We're going to do a Halloween show. I do want to look at the Welcome to Derry and maybe Peacemaker and the movies and mental health because we haven't done it in a while. We got to get back onto the horse.
Great. Maybe we can do some music and mental health as well.
We can do that.
So, all right, man. This was fun. Thank you for joining me. You guys can find me here at this channel. You don't want to find me anywhere else, trust me. All right, we'll see you guys later. Take it easy.
Joker out.